In this video, we will be learning about the vertebrate circulatory system diversity and evolution. The vertebrate circulatory system is a complex network responsible for transporting nutrients, gases, hormones, and waste products throughout the body. It's typically composed of the heart, blood vessels, and blood. Here's an overview of its key components. Heart is the central organ of the circulatory system. It pumps blood throughout the body. Depending on the type of vertebrate, the heart can have different structures. The next component is blood vessels. The arteries, they carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. The veins, they return deoxygenated blood to the heart. Capillaries, these are the microscopic vessels where nutrient and gas exchange occur between blood and tissues. The last component is blood. It is composed of red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets and plasma, and is responsible for the transport of oxygen, nutrients, and waste products. So, overall, the vertebrate circulatory system is essential for maintaining homeostasis, supporting metabolic activities, and facilitating the functioning of other systems in the body. These are structures of heart of vertebrates, the fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals. Now, let's discuss the diversity among vertebrates' circulatory systems. Let's begin with the circulatory system of fish. The main features of fish circulatory system are the heart is two-chambered and there's only single circulation of blood between the body and the heart. The fish heart typically consists of four main chambers: sinus venosus, atrium, ventricle and conus arteriosus. Sinus venosus receives deoxygenated blood from the body. Atrium collects blood from the sinus venosus. Ventricle pumps blood to the gills. Whereas bulbus arteriosus, or conus arteriosus, acts as a buffer to ensure continuous flow of blood into the arteries. So how does the blood circulate inside the fish body? Well, the deoxygenated blood from the body enters the sinus venosus, a chamber that receives blood from the body first. The blood is pumped from the sinus venosus to the heart, specifically the atrium. From the atrium, blood flows to the ventricle, which pumps it to the gills. At the gills, oxygen is absorbed from the water into the blood, and carbon dioxide is removed. This is pulmonary circulation, which refers to the circulatory pathway responsible for exchanging gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, between the water and the fish's bloodstream. The oxygen-rich blood from the gills returns to the heart and is pumped to the rest of the body through the aorta and systemic circulation. It refers to the circulatory pathway that supplies oxygenated blood from the gills to the rest of the body. Here, you have seen that the heart pumps the blood only once through the body, so the fish possess single circulatory system. The characteristics of frog circulatory system are: it has a three-chambered heart which has two atria and one ventricle. And there's always double circulation unlike the fish. This is the structure of frog heart. It contains two atria and one ventricle only, which means the heart is three-chambered. This arrangement allows for some mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Let's discuss the flow of blood inside the frog body. Firstly, the deoxygenated blood from body tissues returns to the heart through different veins. This deoxygenated blood then enters the right atrium. From right atrium, the blood flows to the ventricle. The ventricle pumps this deoxygenated blood to lungs via pulmonary artery. Now, the oxygen absorption occurs in lungs. The oxygenated blood from lungs returns to the heart through pulmonary veins. This blood then enters the left atrium. From the left atrium, the blood flows to ventricle. This ventricle then pumps the oxygenated blood to the body tissues via aorta. The deoxygenated blood from body tissues returns to the heart and the cycle repeats. This is the double circulation of blood, which means the blood passes through the heart twice per circuit, meaning that the right pump sends deoxygenated blood to the lungs where it becomes oxygenated and returns back to the heart. The left pump sends the newly oxygenated blood around the body. It is also very important to mention here that there are the capillaries which facilitate exchange of oxygen, nutrients, and wastes between the lungs and the pulmonary artery. This is the simple circular pathway of blood circulation in frogs. Reptiles, like amphibians, possess a three-chambered heart and also the double circulatory system. This is the structure of reptilian heart. Reptiles have a three-chambered heart, consisting of two atria and one ventricle. This is in contrast to the four-chambered heart found in mammals and birds. The reptiles have a more complex arrangement than amphibians, so they have a better separation of blood flow to some extent. They also have a separate pulmonary and systemic circuits. The heart has separate circuits for pulmonary and systemic circulation. So, how does the blood circulate in reptiles? Firstly, the deoxygenated blood from the body returns to the heart through two veins. This deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium. This blood then flows from the right atrium into the single ventricle. When the ventricle contracts, the blood is pumped into both the pulmonary and systemic circuits. Some blood flows through the pulmonary artery to the lungs for oxygenation. The oxygenated blood from the lungs returns to the heart through the pulmonary vein. This oxygenated blood enters the left atrium. Blood then flows from the left atrium into the single ventricle. The blood from the ventricle flows to the body through the aorta and its branches. Deoxygenated blood returns to the heart, repeating the cycle. This is the circular pathway of blood circulation in reptiles. The circulatory system of birds is a highly efficient and specialized system that supports their active lifestyle and high metabolic needs. They have a four-chambered heart, which means they have two atria and two ventricles. This separation allows for the complete separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, improving the efficiency of gas exchange, and also possess double circulation. This is the structure of birds' heart. They have a four-chambered heart consisting of two atria, upper chambers, and two ventricles, lower chambers. The right atrium receives deoxygenated blood returning from the body via the superior and inferior vena cava. The right ventricle pumps this deoxygenated blood to the lungs through the pulmonary arteries. In the lungs, carbon dioxide is exchanged for oxygen, gas exchange process. Oxygenated blood then returns to the left atrium via the pulmonary veins. The left ventricle then pumps the oxygen-rich blood into the systemic circulation through the aorta, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the body's tissues and organs. This is the circular pathway of blood circulation in birds. Mammals have a four-chambered heart, consisting of two atria, upper chambers, and two ventricles, lower chambers. They also have double circulation of blood in their bodies. This is the structure of mammals' heart. Their heart is four-chambered, consisting of two atria and two ventricles. This design allows for the complete separation of oxygen-rich and oxygen-poor blood. The blood circulation in mammals occurs through a highly efficient double circulatory system, consisting of two main circuits, the pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. The heart plays a crucial role in this process and consists of four chambers, two atria and two ventricles. How blood circulates in mammals. The oxygen-poor blood from the body returns to the right atrium of the heart through two large veins called the superior vena cava, collecting blood from the upper body, and the inferior vena cava collecting blood from the lower body. When the right atrium contracts, blood flows through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. When the right ventricle contracts, blood is pumped through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary arteries, which carry the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. In the lungs, carbon dioxide is expelled from the blood, and oxygen is absorbed. The blood is now oxygen-rich. The oxygenated blood travels back from the lungs to the heart through the pulmonary veins, entering the left atrium. When the left atrium contracts, blood moves through the mitral or bicuspid valve into the left ventricle. When the left ventricle contracts, it pumps blood through the aortic valve into the aorta, the largest artery in the body. The aorta branches into smaller arteries, which distribute oxygenated blood to various tissues and organs throughout the body. As blood passes through the capillaries, oxygen and nutrients are exchanged for carbon dioxide and wastes. After delivering oxygen and nutrients, the deoxygenated blood collects into small veins, venules, that merge into larger veins, eventually leading back to the superior and inferior vena cavae. This blood returns to the right atrium, completing the circuit. This is the circular pathway of blood circulation in mammals. The circulatory systems of vertebrates display remarkable diversity, adapted to various environments and lifestyles. Fish have a single circulation system, while tetrapods, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals have a double circulation system, with some exhibiting a triple circulation. Heart structure also varies, ranging from two-chambered fish to three-chambered reptiles and amphibians, and four-chambered mammals and birds. Specializations include countercurrent exchange in fish gills, pulmonary circulation in tetrapods, and cutaneous respiration in amphibians. This diversity reflects evolutionary adaptations to optimize oxygen absorption and circulation, enabling vertebrates to thrive in aquatic, terrestrial, and amphibious habitats.